October of 2010, I was out of my band I was jamming with there in North Carolina, and kind of just looking for something else. You know, I wasn't sure where to go or what to do.
I think actually the day Gogi and I's band broke up, we called Dustin.
We'd known each other for years from having played shows together and just touring and whatnot, and so we already had a really good rapport with each other.
All of a sudden I just get a call out of nowhere, and it's Gogi and Alex and my brother Corey Lowry.
When it came down to putting this together, it was the logical choice for the three of us to come together and start this project.
I had a lot of respect for both of them, and I seen them perform on stage. I knew what they were capable of, and they had just, Dear Enemy of course, had split, so it just felt right.
We'd send back, we'd send ideas that we had, he'd send ideas that he had.
And I just took a trip to Atlanta, and we got together on a weekend and made magic. I mean, it was really good.
We spent probably the first few months kind of trying to define a sound. We tried some heavier stuff, some softer stuff, some poppier stuff.
And from that point on, we just wrote and wrote and wrote. He came down and traveled, to Atlanta multiple times.
We spent about a good year doing that. Me commuting back and forth, and just really just nowadays, you can record a whole record and the band doesn't even have to be together.
Eventually he moved down to Atlanta, and that's when we kind of went full bore into the writing process, and really just, by the end of it, I think we ended up having like 30, 35 songs.
We had a weekend writing session, and it just clicked, and the sound you hear on the record was formed right there in that one weekend. I think we wrote the first song that kind of set up the sound that is Viasava was Undivided.
How I found out about Viasava was when Dustin Lowry moved to Atlanta. I know I probably should say enough said, because everything Dustin has done has always been a good project, good solid music, good solid songwriting. When he told me that Gogi and Alex from Dear Enemy were in the band, I said, I gotta check this out.
We were trying to figure out what to do as far as bass players were concerned, and he was definitely one of the first names that came up. He's a fantastic musician and an even better person.
And it just dawned on me, because he had, for some reason, I had thought he was a guitar player. He'd been a guitar player in several other of his bands. But then it just dawned on me, I was like, he is a bass player. He's a great bass player.
Dustin introduced me to the tunes. They're well written, well constructed. I basically said to myself I'd be an idiot for not getting involved with this.
He came in after we had written, the album and really recorded the album and everything. We brought him in. He heard the songs, he was really into it, and he wanted to be a part of the band.
And he just stepped in like we didn't miss a beat. He just came in, learned all the songs.
And we sat down. I took the CD over the weekend, learned what I could, and we sat down. Actually, I think we ran through I Smell Trouble as a full band, my first rehearsal.
Yeah, I know just what you are. I know it's not for me. Now it's gone too far, and I smell trouble. Yeah, I know just what you are. Your eyes are killing me. I know it's gone too far, when I smell trouble.
So when we decided we were going to go in and record this record, we actually talked to a few different producers.
We've made enough records, wrote enough songs that we wanted to take a stab at self-producing the record.
So we just decided to just produce ourselves. All of us in this band have been doing this for a long time. We know what we want. We know what sounds good to us.
It's actually kind of a scary thing, because that's the whole point of a producer, is they kind of point you in the right direction. But I think above anything, we wanted to make the record that we wanted to make. And I think at the beginning of this process, it was really about, it doesn't matter if anybody ever hears this record, we have to be able to put this record in and know that we are super proud of it and that it's everything that we wanted to do.
We've worked with a lot of producers in the past and we've learned a lot from them, and we felt like this was something that we had, as far as the songs go, we had put so much into it. We kind of wanted to see it through and just see what we could do on our own without that outside opinion, you know, steering you one way or the other way. We wanted to see what would happen if we just took the reins and produced this thing from start to finish.
That put us in a position where we kind of sat back and like really listened to the songs over and over and over and said, okay, what's working, what's not working, and really just kind of tear them apart and make them what they needed to be.
I think we nailed it. I think we went in there and, you know, gave it our best shot, and I think the product will speak for itself.
All that I need in this life's right here in front of me. Open my arms to the fear that's inside of me. All that I need in this life's right here in front of me. Taking the chance of a lifetime is all I see.
We started kicking around ideas about where to record this record. If we're going to do it, we might as well do it big.
We recorded this album at Virtuo Studios in Georgia. It's a killer studio.
Josh Hack is the owner of the studio, and he was just tremendous. He really made sure that we were taken care of.
It's a great sounding studio, and the vibe there was really cool, and it just really kind of conducive to us being able to make the album that we wanted to make.
The tones we were able to get, it's, you know, the tall ceilings, the angles of the corners. I mean, everything really helped capture that big room drum sound that was what we talked about before we started making the record.
I'll be fine. I'll be fine. I'll be alright.
Robert Hannon engineered the record, and I mean, it was fantastic working with him.
He came up with some really cool ideas as far as sonically how to capture the drums and the guitars and everything, and it's stuff that I've never seen.
He really helped shape the guitar tones that I was going for this album, between the way he was blending tones and everything like that. And he just really added a whole new dimension to the record.
I think he pushed us to do more and play better than I think any of us even thought we could. He had such a huge influence on the way that these songs turned out.
It's so funny, he would have like a little list on the side, and every take, every time I would perform, he would either write good, excellent, or okay. It was just those three. So if it didn't say it sucked, I guess I did pretty good.
We were really fortunate to have him work on the record. I mean, the guy won a Grammy for Album of the Year. He definitely knows his shit, and he brought his A game to this record, and we're really thankful that he was on board for the whole process.
Just felt really comfortable with him there, because I never felt at one point where I wasn't in capable hands.
You know, I came in after they recorded all the music, so we enlisted the help of one Jeff Wood, who himself is an amazing bass player in his own right. So I was equally as excited to go work with him, because it's great when one bass player can go work with another bass player and kind of feed off ideas. We knocked out 11 tracks in 10 hours. Jeff was very essential in helping me finalize my bass tracks for this record.
Say you know this time I'm on my way. No time to reason. Say you know this time I'm on my way.
Mike Ferretti at Architect Studios took our stuff, ran with it, and absolutely nailed it on the first try.
You know, normally if a band has the record mixed, being so far apart and not being around the whole process, it's a little nerve-wracking.
Because you know you're coming into the home stretch. This is the album. It's about to be done, and you just want it so bad to sound like what you'd envisioned. it's far more nerve-wracking to deal with that situation when the studio is nowhere near your hometown and you don't get to go there and listen to stuff or look at the guy face to face and talk about, you know, what you're hearing, what you're thinking, or whatever.
When we get the songs back from their mixing process, they are literally 99.9% done with a few things that just have to be tweaked.
I mean, he has just blown it out of the water. It's so fantastic.
Mike just gets what we want. All we do is send him an email, and you know, the distance isn't an issue at all. We send him an email. As soon as he hears our suggestions, the next day it's there.
And it's amazing to know that these guys are up in New Jersey. We're down here in Atlanta, but yet we're on the same wavelength. Those guys know what we want. They know the sound we're looking for, and they're achieving it.
Oh, a lot of thanks to my brother Corey for hooking me up with these guys.
It's like a bunch of old buddies getting back together from high school, just playing music, having a good time, except this time it's business and it's for real.
The future seems bright. I mean, everything's looking up so far. Definitely plan on hitting the road probably by the end of the summer.
As with anything else, is obviously an unknown, but the future as we see it looks really, really, really good.
There's no reason why we can't go forward with this and have a long-lasting career.
Well, I think we all know that the future of this band relies on building a fan base and really connecting with the fans and giving them something that they want to continue to see and they want to continue to listen to.
You know, we can't do this without the fans, and that's always going to be true. You just don't exist without your fans.
We want the audience to be a part of our journey, and we want the fans to be just as much a part of this as we are, the creative process, everything. And we owe a lot to the fans. And we think that this is going to be a great relationship.